So guys, this is a pre-market analysis of 5th of May, and we need to look at three main aspects. So firstly, and most importantly, US-Iran escalation. That's very serious now. There are some developments post-afternoon yesterday that I'll be discussing. And oil price again spiking above 114, 115 level, which is very important. Yesterday in the pre-market itself, I have told you it is still staying above 100. That's a concern. Now it's spiking, which is more than that. There are some issues at the Strait of Hormuz, which again I need to discuss. Right now, most importantly, today we will be having a gap down. That's what actually the global scenario and the ADR weakness, if you consider, it should be a gap down. We need to see whether it is going to sustain or not. Now, it could be 120-point gap down. So the question is, will they sustain, right? Will they sustain that 24,000 level or not? That's the bigger question. So if you get 120-point gap down, it's at 24,000, which is going to be a support level. So yesterday it took support from 24,000. So from 24,300, there is a big fall, right? And that came to 24,000. So 300-point dip. Initially, there was a good rally because of the election expectations and the results. And then from 24,300, there is a dip of 300 points, came to 24,000 and bounced another 100 point and closed about 24,100. Now, when we get a gap down, if it is below 24,000 and if it sustained below 24,000, there is a high probability that days before yesterday, Nifty touched 23,800, made a double bottom and went above 24,000. So that probability is there. It can go and touch that 23,800 because that's the most important support level. So if Nifty is giving a gap down and if it sustained below 24,000, we will be looking for 23,800. I'll discuss all those reasons and then we plan the trade accordingly. And guys, we have the live market mentoring sessions. If you would like to join us, if you would like to learn, if you would like to trade with us, we have the live market sessions where we trade live and we teach during the market time. So you can get in touch with us. Now, if you see yesterday, why market have closed positive? I hope all of you know that election sentiment is there and that BJP's potential win in West Bengal. So DMK setback in Tamil Nadu. But again, if you see afternoon, what happened is there is a big dip because the global situation was worsened. And that's why I told you even from 24,300, it came to 24,000. Surprisingly, yesterday, FIIs turned out to be net buyers, DIIs turned out to be net buyers, but still we have got a 300-point dip in Nifty from 24,300 to 24,000. That's something which is very interesting. Now, the major point is US-Iran escalation only. So the trigger is Trump announced there is a something called as Project Freedom. So the US military now will reopen the Strait of Hormuz. It's not Iran is going to open Strait of Hormuz. So it is a negotiations which was going on. Iran have to open Strait of Hormuz. No, now Project Freedom means they are going to free the Strait of Hormuz. So US military will attempt to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and will provide the protection to ships. So the claim is, see, the ships are already passing. But Iran gave a completely opposite and counter statement. Iran denied it, and Iran made it very clear that no ships are passing. Right. So now the tension is at high, escalation is at the higher level. So there are major incidents also. The US destroyer basically attempted to go through the Strait of Hormuz, go through the passage, but Iran fired missiles. And US response, as usual, they denied that the ships were hit, but actually it got hit. That's what I came to know from the news sources. News sources means what is publicly available. And then again, one South Korean missile also hit by missile. So the damage is actually confirmed and the engine room explosion was there. So which means what? Iran is not allowing the ships to pass through Strait of Hormuz. UAE tanker is also hit. So these are confirmed, damage reports. So as usual, what will happen when the Strait of Hormuz face the tension and the fire? The oil price will spike. And that's exactly what we have seen. Oil price spike to 114, 115 level. And also UAE's oil zone, that Fujairah, also seen some fire due to the drone or missile attacks. And then US counterattack is there. US have used helicopters and destroyed Iranian small boats and all. That situation is there. So definitely there is escalation which is related to the Strait of Hormuz, protection, freedom, reopening, and all those. Now again, Trump have stated that only South Korean vessel have been hit and claim that other ships are safe. So US ships have successfully passed. These are Trump statement, but Iran completely denied it. So the point is completely conflicting narratives is what is actually coming. Completely, escalated situation is what we can see. The contradictory statements, the conflicting statements, arrogant statements, aggressive statements, and escalation is what we can see. So final takeaway from this is what the situation is highly sensitive now. Again, back to square one, right? So the risk is escalation is very high. So keep a watch on the market. Whenever you see the weakness, we can expect a big follow-up candle also. Considering FIS bought yesterday, I think they start selling today and then there can be a big sell-off today. Okay, or because it's expiry, also be very careful. So if Iran attack US vessel, US have very clearly confirmed that there will be a very strong retaliation also. So there is no possibility of de-escalation. The tension is increasing, oil price is increasing. So even if you look at intraday move, the Brent crude was closing 115, and now the current level is at 114 Brent crude and 115 WTI, which is slightly trading 1 rupee extra premium US oil. So when WTI normally should be less, when WTI is trading slightly above, that indicates some more danger. So oil is extremely high. So that is very clearly negative for the market. And US market, if you see, now again focus shifted to fully geopolitics. We have seen last month the way US markets have came up and hitting all-time highs. Yesterday, Dow Jones is 1.13 negative. S&P 0.4 negative, Nasdaq 0.2 negative, and VIX increased 7.5% and coming to 18.3, which is indicating some kind of fear or uncertainty in the market. So the sentiment as of now is clearly weak. The global sentiment is very clearly weak. So domestically, yesterday we had some positive cues, but again, market got sold into because of the global sentiment. Gift Nifty also, if you see, it's coming down from 24,200 to 24,070, 24,015 level when I'm doing this video. So which is indicating 120 to 130 point gap down opening. So it should be, if it is opening below 24,000, we cannot predict exactly because there is a mismatch in liquidity also, Gift Nifty and Nifty, right? So if there is a opening below 24,000 and if it's sustained below 24,000, there is a high probability it may go and test 23,800 level. So you can plan accordingly. If it is sustaining the 24,000 level, it can go sideways considering this is an expiry day. So expiry day, I don't think that they will try to make such kind of big volatile, big move, so that option sellers will get trapped. I don't think that is possible, but if that is the case, if they sustain below 24,000, there could be good short covering on the put side and you'll get a good move on the downside, at least in the opening itself. And then they may consolidate. And if you look at the ADRs, HDFC Bank and ICICI is negative 1.5 to 2.5%, very weak. So the banks are looking weak. But yesterday, if you see, the banks have closed in India very positive. So this is a fresh negative signal. So there can be a big impact on the banks. Looking at this, Infosys also, if you see, it's negative. ADRs, yesterday in India, it closed negative. ADRs is looking even more negative. Wipro also, if you see the ADRs, it's very negative. So ADRs, in fact, if you see, it is indicating more negative than what Gift Nifty is indicating. So that is actually giving a potential further down move, which can be possible post market opening. If you see institutional data, FIS have bought 2,850 crore. I think after a long time they are buying. DIs bought 4,750 crore. So both of them have bought. Then who sold for that 300 points is the question. Both of them were buyers. Again, if you look at open interest on futures, it's 4%, and options call open interest 44%, very high. That is why 24,300 acted as a major resistance. Now that will remain as a major resistance for quite some time. Puts 20%, so PCR have dropped to 0.81 from 0.97. 0.97 was neutral. Now 0.81 is very bearish. Bearish bias is increasing. Participant positioning, if you see, the clients, retailers 18% bullish. FIIs 11% bearish, prop traders are 5% bearish. So same pattern is repeating. Retailers are going bullish, smart money is cautious, and they're bearish. Apart from that, there are events to watch out, which I'm skipping. Market conditions, Japan market is holiday, Chinese market, South Korean market, these are not opening today. So you won't get much cues from the Asian markets. Morning session will be driven by US futures only. So you'll get the cues from the ADRs and you'll be getting it from US futures, Dow futures, and then you will also have to trade based on The price, yesterday I've told you, price is more important than whatever is happening, right? So yesterday we have seen what is happening, the positivity and everything in the morning, and then how price have behaved. So price is telling you everything. So now we need to look at US futures, the crude prices, and the ADRs. So looking at that, we will be I'm looking for shorting the market if we get any bounce, or when I see the weakness. I'm not going to buy a call option. I'm going to sell calls. I may sell put also at the support level, but I won't buy calls today, right? I'll be, as a buyer, I'll go only with the puts. By looking at this negativity, I'm not going to get much in the upside spikes. So I look for a put buy only. But for selling, I look for calls. That's the priority. But at the support level, I look at put, considering expiry also. Selling a put and buying a call is not equal. Don't think like that. Selling put, I can get the time decay, I can get the delta if the move is there. Buying a call, I cannot get the time. I lose on that. I can get the delta only if move is there. So that's why if it is at a support level like 23,800, I'll prefer to sell a put. I'll look for straddles. Buying side, if I get an opportunity, only the puts is what I will try today. Okay, so these are the things that I want to discuss. Technicals I've already discussed yesterday. Okay, so important point is election sentiment was positive, domestically positive, but completely overshadowed by the negative things. This US-Iran escalation, oil prices above 114, global market is showing weakness, ADR is showing weakness, FIIs buying, DIIs buying positive, but that same FIIs will become a seller today. Let's see what is going to happen. If that is the case, Nifty may touch 23,800 also. Market is highly volatile, geopolitics driven. So focus on oil movement, war escalation, 24,300 resistance, 24,200 also, 23,800 support. So that's about the session. Thank you so much. I see you in the next video. If you're looking for any live market mentorship to trade with us in the live market, get in touch with us. See you there.